in order to see the progress that you want, you have to completely remove the guilt. What's going on, guys? It's your boy, Alfie Wish, and welcome back to another episode of me coming on here, talking to you, documenting my journey coming back from this uncomfortable spinal injury of mine. So we're a few days back. We've been home for a few days now, back home in Dubai, and there's been some more, let's just say, more uncomfortable days than others. Some days have been great, some days have been pretty shitty. Seems like, I'm not trying to get ahead of myself, but my mood's elevated slightly. I don't feel as uncomfortable as sort of Saturday, Sunday when we got home. One thing I want to talk about today, one little thing which I know a lot of us men struggle with, is shame and guilt. So basically, for the past few days, sleep is something which can be affected when you've got a spinal injury because just the discomfort. So basically, I've been sleeping on my back just so I can keep my spine in a pretty neutral position, but I've also been sleeping with like a pillow under my knee just to elevate my legs to take the pressure off. So for the past couple of nights, the sleep has been alright, but what I've been finding is that in the morning, when I wake up, I'm very stiff, I'm less mobile, let's say, to say the least. So I've been waking up in the morning, and one thing that I've really been struggling with, guys, is putting my socks on and shoes on in the morning. It's just very, very uncomfortable. I could probably do it if I put myself into a lot of pain, but when you've got an injury like this and you're coming back from a spinal injury, you know, and it's your L4, L5, it's discs, it's extremely uncomfortable. And the last thing you want to be doing is almost stretching into pain. So what I've been finding is I've actually been asking, I know it sounds, you know, laugh at me if you want, but I've been asking my girlfriend to put my socks on for me in the morning. And I think this is something which can take a lot for a man to do. It's that guilt, it's that shame, it's that, even though it's, you know, it's your other half, it's your partner, that should be something which you should never be judged on anyway. Like, that should be something that you would do for her, she would do for you. But I think a lot of men would even struggle to ask this question in the morning, and they'd actually put themselves through the pain just for the sake of them not deflating their own ego, not for taking a big hit on their ego. Now, this is probably something which I wouldn't expect to ask somebody until I'm probably 70 plus years old, right? Until I'm like years into the future. But unfortunately, it's just something I had to do. And don't get me wrong, when somebody else is putting a sock on me, yeah, do I feel like a little bitch? Maybe. But I just have to accept it, you know? Don't let your ego get in the way, and don't let it hurt your ego. Like, don't fall to it. Because if I could run you through a whole lot of emotions, you know, what I'm saying is, like, do you really think that felt comfortable? Asking my partner to put my socks on for me in the morning. I felt like a little bitch. Of course I did. But sometimes as a man, that is what makes the man. That is what's going to make you stronger. I think only weak men would not have the balls to ask that question, in my opinion. If you have real strength, real confidence, something like that doesn't feel uncomfortable for you. It might at first, but you know, when you're going through these things, guys, like if you have an injury, if you have a setback and something like that needs to get done, then don't be afraid to ask the question. Like, you have to think about your comeback. You have to think about yourself, because I made this mistake of doing this before, where I've like overextended, gone to put my shoes on, I pull my back out again. So do not be afraid to ask this question. Do not be afraid to do little things like that. Now, there might be a couple of you thinking, you've asked your girlfriend to put your socks on for you, granddad. Like, no. that takes real strength and real courage, in my opinion. You know, it's tough. It's tough. But I always have to look at it through the lens with tunnel vision. Always have to look at it with a long-term vision here, because yeah, these might be little silly things and things which, you know, a lot of men would never have the strength or, let's say, the courage to do. But every time I get in an uncomfortable situation like that, I just sort of remind myself of how I felt, you know, a couple of weeks ago, how I felt prior to coming back with this flare up again, because I felt amazing. And, you know, I was on a call with my coach yesterday. Yes, coaches have coaches. But I was on a call with my coach yesterday, and we were both just discussing how well I was doing. And the fact that, you know, I decided to put my girlfriend on my shoulders at the wedding was obviously just a very clear sign that I was getting overly confident. I was confident, right? I was feeling good. So in the time frame of starting the physio to getting back to where I was before the wedding was literally like a month and a half. I was struggling with this for like 3 or 4 months, but I didn't start physio for ages. So in that time frame, and actually looking back at the progression that I made, yes, I've had a flare up. Yes, it's annoying and it's devastating, because I was making so much progress and my frequency was so elevated. I felt so good every day. But there's always a positive and a negative, and the positive that I'm trying to extract from this is like, yeah, I've had to do things, and there are things which I'm limited and I can't actually do, like putting the socks on and bending down or picking up a chair and things like this. But if you can just play the game and know what is right for you and know what is going to allow you to progress, then you will get back on track so fast. Because when I look back at the progress that I was making, you know, I was training, I was getting stronger in the gym, I could do most things, and that's what gives me the reminder. You know, there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Don't ever think that because you can't right now bend over and put your socks on, you have to ask your missus to put your shoes on, that normal is going to be something which you're never going to feel again. Because I promise you it is. I promise you it is. But you have to look at what is right and what is wrong. What are the actionable steps that I need to take today to actually move the needle just by one singular step? You know, like, that sucks, man. Like, but it's like, am I going to be a little bitch to it, or am I just going to surrender to the fact that I am injured and that this is just temporary? This is just temporary. So yeah, that's how I'm kind of feeling right now. This has been what's been going on the past couple of days. Hasn't been the nicest, but you know, I've seen the progress that I was making before. She's seen the progress, Gemma, my other half, she's seen the progress that I was making. And yeah, I just want this to be a little reminder that, you know, if you feel very uncomfortable right now, if you're going through a spinal injury like I am, or even if you're going through a few setbacks, a weight loss journey, and you've had a few cock-ups, and there are things which you don't feel the best of, just completely remove the guilt from it, man. Just remove the guilt, because it's not serving you at all. It's not serving you. Whatever vice this may be, if it's a vice, you know, if this is some form of bad habit that you're trying to cut out, just remove the guilt from it. Remove the guilt from it, because the guilt is what keeps us trapped in that circle. And it's something which we just keep feeding and feeding and feeding and feeding and feeding. So remove the guilt. Remove the guilt and accept where you are, surrender to where you are, and know that there is always light at the end of the tunnel. Promise you. It's only up from here. Yes, my girlfriend has been, you know, putting my socks on me for the past couple of days, but I just know that it's temporary. And it was it's the better thing for me, and that there is light at the tunnel. And yeah, remove the guilt, man. Accept where you are. Surrender to the fact that you're not in a position that you want to be, but it's okay, because it is temporary.